For these women, the journey is not a way of reaching a paradise called Timbuktu. The trip is the end in itself, an excuse to reinvent the world each day. The women do not want to reach Timbuktu, they just want to travel, to slowly approach a city that, in their eyes, has never been laden with mysteries. For the women traders of the river, Timbuktu is nothing more than what it has always been, the capital of the distant north, the last stop of a path strewn with promises of commerce. In the mind of someone who has never been to Timbuktu, the city is not a place, but an idea, a magical word that opens the chest of mystery and desire for adventure. For the river inhabitants, it was only a place where the caravans crossing the desert would end, the strategic point where gold from the southern mountains would arrive to be traded for salt. For the rest of the people, it was a place paved with marble, a magnificent city with palaces of gold and ivory. This city never existed. Gold would come and go, but never stayed. It would leave for the north in the caravans that one day also stopped coming to this meeting point. The Kankan Musa sets sail again. It travels on, knowing that it will only find sand, heat, and decrepit walls, with aspirations of mysterious architecture in Timbuktu. The Kankan Musa is aware of this, but it sails on anyway, attracted by the power of the names whose spirits do not disappear. It is euphoric, caught under a spell before the proximity of the last frontier, which transcends the whims of time and space. A place that has been dying for 3 centuries, yet holds on, sustained by some strange force that gives it the need to exist.
My name is Mahaman Traore, and I have been a pilot for 32 years. The biggest problem we have with the boat is that there are no replacement parts. We need to get new equipment and spare parts in order for this job to be easier. We only use our instincts and experience to guide us.
We constantly run aground because we do not have sonars or anything to warn us that we are headed towards shallow waters. If we could dredge the sand from the river, or if they were to build the Tosaye Reservoir, we could work at least 6 months a year.
Years ago, the water level was very high, and we could sail for months. But now we can only sail for 3 or 4. And half of the time, we are still sailing in very poor conditions.
We could not do anything for 8 months. The solution is to buy new equipment and to dredge the river. This river is our life, and the life of all the people who travel with us. Any possible future for our children depends on it.
Mopti is the Malian symbol of a new age, disproportionate and full of life. Before the colony, it was nothing more than a small Bozo fisherman's village, of no importance at all compared to the big cities of Yene and Timbuktu. The French created Mopti in order to take power away from the local chieftains of these cities and to take advantage of its position on the river, halfway between Bamako and Gao. They built the dock and jetty in order to make it the most important river port. The arrival of the railway in Bamako in 1904 activated trade along the river. Big European companies established trading posts, buying feathers and rubber, and later wool and leather and goat skins. After the colony, these products were no longer exported. Today, Mopti is the heart of the country's interior trade along the river. Everything that travels up or down the river, men as well as merchandise, passes through this city. The city is growing day by day. Currently, there are approximately 800,000 inhabitants, and it continues to grow due to the constant influx of people abandoning the rural areas to avoid the droughts, floods, and plagues. They look for work in any of the new trades that the city promises. At the port, all activities are frenetic. There is a building in Mopti called the market, but they do not need one, since the entire city is a huge market that services everything that enters and exits the inlet, where the big canoes called binathas dock. Everyone is selling something, and there is always someone buying odds and ends. Or spices, livestock, vegetables, dried fish. Trade is constant and free-flowing. Like yesteryear, salt blocks arrive from the far corners of the desert, although not by camel, but now in the big barges that live on the river. In Mopti, the day goes on filled with sweat, the sweat of those who briefly come ashore and of those who shuffle around the port loading and unloading merchandise. The sun of Sahel has no measure, making its light a deformed madness. But then the afternoon slowly arrives without warning, playing with the colors of the sunset in an old-fashioned way. This is how sunsets should always be. Like those on the Niger, no cement horizons negating the moment. With a giant copper-colored sun that sits for only 1/100th of a second over the line of the river. Near Mopti, along the curve of the Niger, you will find the Bozos, the traditional river fishermen. They were the owners of Mopti, but growth and development made them lose control of the city. First, the French arrived, then the sedentary Peul, then the Dogons who came down from the mountains. Later on, the Bella slaves, who were freed by the Tuaregs, also came. Songhai and Bambara groups joined them, creating a display of ethnic exuberance unknown to man at that time. The Bozos were pushed to the banks of the river.
My town has been a victim of immigration and drought. We used to fish with thick mesh nets, but since there are few big fish, we have reduced the size of the mesh. This job does not provide enough for survival. We use fishing materials on loan, which we slowly pay off at a high price, and unfortunately, the price of fish does not seem to stop dropping. I have 2 wives. My first wife is called Bama Nabo, and we have 2 children. My second wife is called Bama Kone, and we have 5 children. My children, nieces, and nephews help us to fish. None of them have gone to school. I teach them the Quran and Arabic, which is all they need.